Okay, so in my Monday update from over here in Mallorca, I'm going to let you know why passengers have been left out of pocket from cancelled flights. Also, whether you should be cancelling your holiday on the back of the storms that we've had and the protests too. Plus, we're still over at the airport. We're talking special assistance and industrial action. And I have a weather forecast for the week ahead. But first, I'm going to ask you to subscribe to the channel. I'm Alex. I live over here in Mallorca and I bring you a weekly update from the island, giving you all the latest news that you need to know before your holiday, as well as all my normal travel guides and travel tips. So subscribe to the channel, hit that notifications bell too to help you prepare for your holiday. But first, we're going to start off this update from over here on Magaluf Beach. I'm in the lovely Futanetta Beach Cafe too, and I've got my Monday morning frappuccino to start the day. I need it after quite a long live stream last night over in Calabona and Calamilor. But we're going to start this video talking about why panicked passengers have been left out of pocket, and this is following the storms that we had over on the island last week. Now, I had an email from a really lovely lady who is now £1,000 out of pocket following her flight cancellation at Palma Airport last Thursday. As you know, we had stormy weather last week. It was the first incidence this summer where we really had a case of flights getting cancelled because of bad weather. But you may remember in my video last week, we had literally dozens of flights cancelled and thousands of people left without accommodation too, or a means to get to their onward destination. So a lot of people had to spend the night over at Palma Airport on Wednesday and Thursday night too. So when her flight got cancelled by EasyJet, they offered her a flight 4 days later, which she thought she had no choice to accept. And she panicked as well because of the number of people at the airport. So as a result, she accepted that flight for 4 days later. But then she realised she couldn't get accommodation for those 4 days because, of course, we're in peak season and all accommodation is pretty much booked out. So she was told to sleep at the airport with her children. She later found out, and I highlighted this in my video, which I made, I think it's on Friday, about your rights if you do get your flight cancelled. Make sure you go and check that out before you travel. But she found out that she could actually get home through any other bookable means. So she decided to book a flight the next day on Jet2 and she got herself home. However, she wrote to me and she said, "We have since been told that we're not eligible for a refund for the flights and that they will only reimburse for the flight back, which does not even cover half the cost of the flights we had to book. We have 2 small children and they had to sleep on the floor at the airport. We had no warm clothing and our towels were damp, which we had to try and make something up for our children to lie on. We were not given any blankets or food vouchers. It was absolutely awful. The floors and the toilets were extremely filthy and it was cold during the night. We've had no support from the airlines or the airport and we were just told to contact EasyJet to make a complaint." They are saying that because we accepted the flight on Sunday, that they will not refund for the flight we booked with a different airline. And due to the current cost of living crisis, we're now over £1,000 down, and this is having an impact. Now, I have to say that's absolutely horrendous. It's been a case of the airport saying it's not our responsibility. It's EasyJet not being available to help out this lady either and making sure she tries to get home early or even find her accommodation on an island where at the time there was no free accommodation either, which is why she had to get this flight home as well. So, I mean, what a mess. I mean, and it's just really, really sad. You will have seen in my previous video as well that I've asked the airport if they could possibly make the facilities a little bit better for when this happens and we get potentially hundreds of people at the airport, if they could maybe get in some easy fold-up camp beds or whatever to make anyone's stay at the airport a bit better. We shouldn't be having families and children lying on damp towels on the floor. We shouldn't have elderly people, disabled people lying on the floor either. It's just not fantastic, and you wouldn't want it for your family. So really, this is something that should be looked at in the future because we're bound to get storms again one day. It's bound to happen. It's going to affect more people going forward in the future. Now, I really didn't know what advice to give to this lady apart from passing her the link to the Ministry of Transport website, which I talked about in my video last week about knowing your rights if your flight gets cancelled. I suppose one option is to go to a no-win, no-fee lawyer to see if they can do anything. But really, I would say if this happens and you get your flight cancelled, don't be in a rush to accept the flight booking. Look at if you can get home a little bit earlier. Weigh up the pros and cons of this. Whether you're also going to need the credit as well to be able to book these extra flights or to stay on the island if the airline does not provide accommodation for you. So it's all worth knowing. It really is worth knowing, but it just seems so unfair that people who maybe can't afford to then go and splash out another €1,000 on a hotel night, on a hotel for 4 days, or buy flights home, have to then sleep on the floor at the airport. Someone needs to take responsibility for this. So maybe the airlines and the airport can just work together a bit. It's not a case of passing the buck and saying it's not our fault. Work together. They're your customers too. Anyway, that leads me on to whether you should cancel your holiday, because I received this email from Tonya in Canada. She said, should we cancel due to the storms and the protests? Also, I had a comment over on the YouTube channel saying, I am due to go out at the end of the month and this is putting doubt in my head. Love Holidays haven't cancelled it yet. Would you say to push to go somewhere else? Well, in both of those cases, no, don't cancel, don't go somewhere else, because, well, quite frankly, at this time of year, anywhere in the Mediterranean, you're going to get the possibility of thunderstorms, you're going to get the possibility of showers. I mean, we've woken up this morning to a bit of a hazy morning. It's going to clear up for the day, but are we going to have like storms every single day? No, we're not. With the protests, again, are people protesting in the streets? Are they making you feel unwelcome? No, they're not. Go and check out my previous content about this. I'll drop some links below as well, so you really know what's going on in the island. Any future protests that we have to be agreed by the government, and if they're going to take place, they'll take place in Palma city centre. They won't take place in resorts. There was one exception over at the Playa de Palma, but that's purely because of the tourism model that we have over there in the Playa de Palma. I've also made a video all about that too. Watch that link below. It's not going to affect you. It really will not affect you. And everyone that is coming over here on holiday being made to feel more than welcome and having an amazing holiday. So go and check out those videos. Don't worry about the storms as well. If one bubbles up, it comes and goes quite quickly. Again, we've had chaos at the airports, but you're going to get that anyway. So I wouldn't be in such a rush to cancel your holiday and go somewhere else. You're still going to come over here and have a fantastic time. The only time your holiday will be cancelled will be if Mallorca or Spain or whatever is declared a no-go zone, which is not by the Foreign Office. I'll tell you what, the protests that we've had here have been really peaceful and been nothing like what we've seen in the United Kingdom. So yeah, Mallorca, Spain, it's not a no-go zone. Also, as well, if you are going to cancel, you're going to lose out a lot of money as well. You're going to lose your deposit. You're going to lose probably what you've paid for it too, especially at short notice. The only way you would be able to cancel your holiday is if you have a pre-declared medical condition, and you would have to prove why you needed to cancel your holiday, and you wouldn't be able to be fit for travel either. Something you need to contact your travel insurance company about too, but it really needn't come to that because, like I've said, the island's very welcoming. Come here as normal. Nothing's changed really. So just enjoy. Which leads me on to, and we're still at the airport here. I'm just going to take a sip of my coffee. Just 1 second. Special assistance. Now, with the huge numbers of travellers that we have had this summer during peak season, we've seen the special assistance services over at the airport a little bit stretched, which is kind of understandable with the millions of people pouring through the airport. Now, I have to say, and I'm going to say this, I've said in my previous video, if you need special assistance, book it. But I'm also going to say, if you don't need special assistance, please don't book it. Please keep the special assistance services for the disabled and for people with mobility issues. And if you do have invisible disabilities, then please do not book special assistance. And I'll go on to what you can do instead. But I have had a comment from the lovely Lee from up at Rotherham Way saying, what a nightmare getting home. We had very little assistance for myself in Palma. It was a joke. Top it off, the baggage handlers broke the handle on my case. I was pushed some of the way, but security wouldn't allow the wheelchairs through. We got dropped at gate 18 and we were flying from gate 10. I even had to walk from the assistance desk at gate 10 to the aeroplane. So there are many other cases like this over on the Mallorca Under the Sun Facebook group. Go ahead and check out that post. Just search in little magnifying glass for that post and you'll find it. But if you do have invisible disabilities such as autism, or you're travelling with anyone with invisible disabilities, make sure you take your sunflower lanyard. Make sure you download the badge from the IENA website too. I'll drop a link to that in the description text below. Should help you get through the airport a little bit quicker. But if you can walk, please don't use the special assistance, which is really for people that are disabled or with very, very poor mobility, and for the elderly too. And it might help out that service at the airport. Okay, moving on to reports of industrial action. I'm not over here in Palma, but you may well have read about it in the local press, taking place quite potentially at the end of August and the beginning of September over at Heathrow Airport in the United Kingdom. The first thing I have to say is that's a couple of weeks away, so anything can happen at that time. Whenever we read reports of industrial action, often these actually get resolved and it never comes to anything too. Those reports only serve to worry passengers coming over here. So I want to kind of put your mind at rest at the time for the time being. It may well get resolved if you're travelling through Heathrow in the next couple of weeks. So all I also have to say is that make sure you arrive at the airport within good time as well, with lots of time. Take extra food with you. They have to keep border control open and free flowing as well. So something will have to be done even if industrial action is taking place, but just make sure you allow a little bit of extra time for your journey. That's kind of all I have to say, but don't worry too much. I really hate it when they publish reports about industrial action because it just scares everyone. But anyway, unless it's actually going ahead, that's a different matter. Okay, which leads us on to a weather forecast for the week ahead. Now, looking behind me on Magaluf Beach, started the day a little bit hazy, woke up this morning to a few grey clouds, and indeed, if you watch my live stream from over in Calabona and Calamilor last night, you would have seen the dark clouds looming over the resort. Now, we're approaching the end of August here, so we do have some showers bubbling up from time to time. I saw it last night. It's clearing away this morning. We had no big rain shower over on this side of the island too, so if we do have rain bubbling up, it might be in just one resort and not another. So over here we're seeing clear skies ahead for the week. We've got highs of 31, lows of around 21 to 23, still very hot, it's very, very humid. You need plenty of frappuccinos to get you through the day, and cold drinks as well, so stay hydrated on the beach. But I don't see any big storms that we had last week. The weather's looking quite settled for the week ahead too, but just watch out for the very occasional storm or cloudy day that may bubble up from somewhere. Okay everyone, thank you very much for watching. I'm going to drop a video just here and just here on YouTube to help you out with your holiday, so go and check that out too. Don't forget you can find me on the Facebook group and on my Instagram, also called Mallorca Under the Sun, and I'll be back very soon as well with another update from over here on the island, so consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. Thanks very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Goodbye for now.